There is a belief almost everyone carries at some point in their life. It sounds logical, it sounds responsible, and it feels comforting. If I just understood money better, I'd be wealthy. So people read books, they watch videos, they follow experts, they learn terminology, they memorize strategies. And yet, many of the smartest people, still lie paycheck to paycheck. This is the knowledge trap. The assumption that understanding finance automatically leads to financial success. It doesn't. In fact, in many cases, it does the opposite. Highly intelligent people often struggle financially, not because they lack information, but because knowledge gives them a false sense of progress. They feel like they are doing something when they are really just preparing to act someday. Knowledge becomes a substitute for behavior. You see this everywhere. Engineers with six-figure incomes and zero savings. Doctors buried under lifestyle inflation. MBA graduates who understand markets but never invest consistently. Analysts who can explain compound interest perfectly but never let it work for them. The issue isn't intelligence, it's execution. Knowledge without behavior creates confidence without results. And that confidence is dangerous because it delays action. People tell themselves, I'll start investing when I understand this better. I'll save once my income stabilizes. I'll fix my finances. After I learn more, years pass, income rises, expenses rise faster, and the gap never closes. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Financial success is not awarded to the most informed. It's awarded to the most consistent. Knowledge can even backfire. When you know a little, you hesitate. You wait for the right time. You overanalyze decisions that should be boring. You try to optimize instead of automate. This leads to paralysis. You become so aware of risks, scenarios, and possibilities that you never commit to a simple plan long enough for it to work. Meanwhile, someone with far less knowledge quietly saves 15% of their income every month for 20 years and ends up wealthier than the expert who kept waiting for perfection. This is why knowledge often creates a false sense of security. It makes people feel protected. While remaining exposed, they believe knowing what should be done is the same as doing it. It isn't single. Quotes T. In finance, awareness without repetition produces nothing. Think about it this way. No one gets physically fit by understanding anatomy. No one gets fluent in a language by reading grammar rules. And no one gets wealthy by knowing how money works without using it correctly. Repeatedly, over time, the market doesn't reward intelligence. It rewards behavior. And behavior is not driven by knowledge, it's driven by habits. That's the pivot point most people never make. They keep upgrading their knowledge, hoping one day they'll feel ready. But readiness is an illusion. Wealth is built by imperfect action done consistently, not perfect understanding done occasionally. And until you break out of the knowledge trap, nothing changes. Because knowing more doesn't fix behavior, only habits do. Once you escape the knowledge trap, a new truth becomes clear. Wealth is not built by decisions. It is built by systems. Specifically, systems of repeatable habits. This is the unbreakable loop, a loop where behavior feeds results. Results reinforce behavior. And consistency compounds into wealth. At the center of every wealthy outcome is a small set of boring actions, repeated relentlessly. Saving automatically. Investing regularly. Spending intentionally. Avoiding lifestyle inflation. None of these require brilliance. They require discipline. The power of habits lies in their ability to remove decision-making from the process. Decisions are emotional. Habits are mechanical. When saving and investing rely on willpower, they fail under stress. When they are automated, they survive bad moods, busy schedules, and market noise. This is why automation is one of the most powerful wealth tools ever created. An automated savings plan doesn't ask how you feel. It doesn't care about headlines. It executes. And execution beats intention every time. Consider this. A person who invests a fixed amount every month, regardless of market conditions, almost always outperforms someone who tries to time entries perfectly but invests sporadically. Why? Because consistency captures time. And time is the real edge. Modern data repeatedly confirms this. Long-term studies show that missing just a handful of the best market days dramatically reduces returns. And the people who miss those days are almost always the ones waiting for clarity, confirmation, or confidence. Habitual investors don't wait. They participate. Small, consistent actions compound quietly. Of $500. Monthly investment at average returns doesn't look impressive in year 1, or year 3, or even year 5. But after 20 years, it becomes life-changing. This is the part most people misunderstand. Compounding doesn't feel powerful while it's working. It feels boring, which is exactly why most people never stick with it. Habits remove the need for motivation. They turn wealth building into background behavior. Once the loop is established, momentum does the work. The key insight is this: habits scale automatically as income grows. If you save a percentage, not a fixed amount, your system improves as your career improves. If you invest automatically, market volatility becomes irrelevant. If you live below your means by default, lifestyle inflation never traps you. The loop becomes unbreakable because it no longer depends on mood, intelligence, or attention. It depends on structure, and structure wins. This is why financial freedom often looks accidental from the outside. People say they got lucky. They didn't. They just built habits early and let time do. The heavy lifting. Wealth is rarely the result of one brilliant move. It is the result of hundreds of unremarkable ones. And once the loop is in place, stopping it feels harder than continuing. That's the goal. One of the most uncomfortable truths in finance is this: ordinary people with strong habits often outperform experts with weak behavior, not because they know more, but because they make fewer mistakes. Even financially sophisticated individuals are vulnerable to cognitive biases. FOMO, overconfidence, loss aversion, recency bias, emotional decision-making under stress. Knowledge doesn't eliminate these biases. In some cases, it amplifies them. Experts often believe they can outthink the market. That belief leads to overtrading, market timing, and unnecessary complexity. Meanwhile, ordinary investors who follow a simple plan and ignore noise avoid these traps entirely. They don't chase hype. They don't panic sell. They don't constantly tweak their strategy. They just execute the same boring behaviors month after month. And boring beats brilliant. Behavioral finance research consistently shows that investor returns lag market returns, not because markets are unfair, but because human behavior interferes. The gap between what markets deliver and what investors actually earn is largely behavioral. Habits close that gap. Habits create emotional distance. When investing is automated, fear and greed have less opportunity to interfere. When saving is non-negotiable, spending adapts, then goals are clear. Noise fades. This is why discipline is a competitive advantage. Not intelligence. Not access. Not timing. Discipline. The market is a machine designed to exploit emotional behavior. Habits are how you opt out. Building the unbreakable loop does not require a financial overhaul. It requires small, strategic changes applied consistently. Start with one principle: pay yourself first. This means saving and investing before you spend, not after. Treat it like a bill that cannot be skipped. Next, simplify. Complex systems fail under stress. Simple systems survive. Choose a basic investment strategy and stick to it. You don't need constant optimization. You need consistency. Track progress visually. Seeing progress reinforces. Behavior celebrates small wins. Momentum grows through reinforcement. Use habit stacking. Attach financial actions to existing routines. Review finances on the same day you pay bills. Increase contributions when you get a raise. Rebalance once a year on your birthday. Make habits frictionless. Be easier the behavior, the more durable it becomes. Remove obstacles. Reduce decisions. Design your environment to support your goals. That is how habits become automatic. Wealth is not a finish line. It is a process. Markets change. Careers change. Life changes. The unbreakable loop survives because it adapts. When markets fall, habits continue. When income resets, habits scale. When setbacks occur, habits stabilize. That's just how wealth becomes durable. That's just how legacies are built. Not through brilliance, through consistency. The most powerful financial decision you can make today is not learning one more concept. It is starting one habit, because once the loop begins, it carries you forward. Knowledge informs habits. Transform. And transformation is what creates lasting wealth. Start building your loop today. Let knowledge guide you, but let habits make you wealthy.